My name's Daniel Bushell. Terrorists aren't the real target of America's police state. Coming up.
Obama's adventures in Murderland. Your search engine selling you lies. And America outlaws private property.
If you use a cell, a computer, or walk outside, the FBI now considers you a terrorist suspect with no right to privacy. 62% of Americans who back drone strikes on foreigners can now get a taste of their own medicine, but so will those against drones, whether they like it or not. A court ruled Obama can drone murder Americans without trial, even though it's, quote, incompatible with the Constitution. When Obama threw an Alice in Wonderland Christmas bash, it's unclear if he's mocking the judge who said,
"The Alice in Wonderland nature of this is not lost on me. A catch-22 that allows the executive branch of our government to proclaim as lawful certain actions that seem on their face incompatible with our Constitution, while keeping the reasons for their conclusion a secret."
Investigator Jason Leopold, what's going on?
It's a police state mentality. And if I were to say to you or anyone in the public that we are moving closer and closer toward a police state, I would be dismissed as a conspiracy theorist, as someone who is just paranoid. But we are already there. And as you mentioned, we have the drone strikes. We have the fact that drones, that various police departments throughout the country are using drones for surveillance here.
Several U.S. citizens have already been assassinated. Here, Black Hawks fly low on downtown Miami, strafing highways with machine gun fire in what authorities call a practice run. Government drone says the Supreme Court can even spy on your private property without a warrant. You want to sunbathe nude on your own property, says Jay Stanley of America's Civil Liberties Union. You can no longer be sure nobody's watching you. So the first citizen who pulls the trigger will be fated, says this judge.
The first American patriot that shoots down one of these drones that comes too close to his children in his backyard will be an American hero.
And it's not the first scandal where Americans pay to spy on themselves. This far too honest video was pulled after an outcry. It reveals this public spy system is already recording our conversations in places like Michigan and soon San Francisco. IntelliStreets calls cops when you make a louder than average noise and uses data mining like facial profiling of every passerby. So the promo was pulled, but the program expands. Department of Homeland Security untouchables say they will simply no longer tell us other cities that deploy these robocops. Investigative journalist Madison Ruppert, please describe to us a world of so-called intelligent streets.
You might be having an intense conversation with a friend. You might be having a friendly argument over a sports game or whatever it may be, a political situation. The cops could be called, and then you are treated as a criminal until you can be proven innocent of some kind of criminal activity. And the problem with that is obviously that it is the complete reverse of what the American justice system is supposed to be. We are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but with this kind of pre-crime technology where you are held guilty until you can be proven innocent is truly a kind of Minority Report style absolute science fiction when we're talking about this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, behavior recognition is getting rolled out in these cameras.
Privacy expert Kade Crockford, what laws is the government breaking?
The U.S. Constitution states pretty clearly in the Fourth Amendment that United States persons, that's to say anybody in the United States, should be free from warrantless search and seizure. So it's pretty clear to us at the ACLU that listening to someone's phone call or reading their email constitutes a search.
Simple question, why should people know what its government is doing?
That's essentially what Dianne Feinstein said on the floor of the Senate when they were debating the FISA reauthorization back in December. She basically said just that. You know, we can't tell people what we're really doing because if they found out, they'd be pissed. And, you know, that is just not an acceptable way to govern in a democracy.
Elected senators also can't reveal all your calls are being tapped. The FBI claims people on their cell have no right to privacy. Leading law professor Neil Richards, do they have any legal grounding to do that at all?
I think to say that no one has a right to privacy when they use a mobile phone, or that no one has a right to privacy when they use the internet, is utter nonsense.
Every US family is being recorded, not just for emails, but in everything it does, from parking tickets to choice of dog food. That harvesting of data is being aided and abetted by your local network provider. AT&T even wired up its circuit direct to the National Security Agency. Tech giants sell themselves as anti-establishment. In 1984, Apple was this freedom fighter slaying Big Brother. But in 2013, Big Brother's now called Apple. Cybersecurity analyst Rich Mogull, is Apple the only one doing this?
Companies, basically, let's take a step back. There are the policies by the companies that basically say you have no privacy. An example of that would be Facebook. They can sell your data, monitor your data. They change their policies all the time, and they make those changes with very little or no notification to the users. Even China hasn't had the ability to monitor their citizens with such depth and breadth as a company like Google.
Hounded by feds constantly, web guru Kim Dotcom plans an end to the government spying capability.
My goal is, within the next 5 years, I want to encrypt half of the internet, Just re-establish a balance between a person, an individual, and the state. Because right now, we are living very close to this vision of George Orwell, and I think it's not the right way. It's a wrong path that the governments are on, thinking that they can spy on everybody.
But governments now openly working to kill a free internet altogether.
Leaving the internet alone has been the nation's internet policy since the internet was first commercialized. But that was then, and this is now.
But why are the victims of this innocent people? WikiLeaks revealed a fact so shocking. The feds attacked Julian Assange's site day and night for over a week to stop people reading it. Internal security emails expose that America's surveillance network is, quote, more for activists than terror threats. This intercept operator's testimony confirms the real target is ordinary Americans.
The calls were all in English. They were all American. And the guy goes back to his supervisor and says, "Sir, these people are all Americans." The supervisor says, "Just transcribe it. That's in order. Transcribe everything." A lot of these people were having personal phone calls, calling their families, and everything just disappeared somewhere. Someone's got it. After a few days, he said he didn't want to do it anymore, didn't think it was right. So they got somebody else to do it. There's a lot of intimidation, and people just follow orders.
The national intelligence boss somehow claims spying on everyone is practical and effective, but an independent probe found the exact opposite.
What a bunch of crap coming through, hampering counterterrorism. The inquiry could not identify a single contribution that fusion centers made to disrupt an active terrorist plot. DHS officials asserted that some fusion centers existed when they did not. Centers forwarded intelligence endangering citizens, civil liberties, and privacy. DHS personnel are prohibited from monitoring U.S. persons for activities protected by the U.S. Constitution, such as the First Amendment, freedoms of peaceful assembly and protest.
It'll be the biggest bunch of crap in history. A new 1 million square foot jumbo facility in Utah will hold all the world's information for the next 100 years. When strangers gain control, first victims are children. A lawsuit alleges teachers spy on kids undressing through school-supplied laptop webcams. Kade Crockford, strangers with access to all our files. How serious will the abuse be?
There are over 4.5 million people in this country now who have security clearances. A number of those people are actually working for private corporations. So these teachers snooping on kids are about police inappropriately using databases to look up information about their ex-girlfriends, or, mayors using information to punish their political enemies, whatever. this is actually just the tip of the iceberg, because we don't know what these people are really doing every day when they sit in front of a computer that, you know, has access to surveillance feeds from all around the country or all around the world, or, you know, any number of databases containing, you know, so much information about literally every single person in this country.
In the USSA, TV now watches you. This is The Truth Seeker.